Moving on, Russia hammering Ukraine into its darkest winter in a way. 6 people dead, about 23 people injured in the latest Russian attacks. As Putin grabs 500 square kilometers, Kiev, in a way, begging for $27 billion in weapons aid. At this crucial juncture, Europe, is it slamming the brakes on arms aid? And France blocking supply of Storm Shadow missiles, while Germany says it can no longer supply Patriot air defense systems. What does all of this mean for Ukraine? Take a look.
The lights are going out across Ukraine as a brutal winter turns into a weapon of war. Massive Russian strikes have just crippled the energy grid in Kharkiv and Odessa, leaving millions without heat or water in sub-zero temperatures. The situation is equally grim in the Ukrainian capital.
We don't have heating right now, but we're holding on. We have electricity, we're managing somehow, and we also have gas as backup. Yes, it was a very difficult evening. 3 missiles struck the industrial district of Kharkiv. It was an energy facility that supplied the city of Kharkiv. It was seriously damaged. We are all working now. In addition, a lyceum was damaged. 16 multi-story buildings were also damaged.
On the ground, the situation is even more dire. Moscow says its forces have advanced across all frontline sectors, capturing nearly 500 square kilometers of territory since early January.
The troops of the joint grouping continue to advance on all axes. Since the start of January, 17 settlements have been liberated and more than 500 square kilometers of territory have come under our control.
Whether fully verifiable or not, the pressure is visible. Ukrainian troops are stretched, ammunition is rationed, air defenses are thin. The numbers tell a stark story. Ukraine needs at least $27 billion in military equipment in 2026. And crucially, from outside the European Union. European stockpiles are depleted, production is slow, and political unity is fraying. France is now openly drawing lines. President Emmanuel Macron says Europe must protect itself first before sending more missiles east. Paris has opposed an EU proposal to buy British-made Storm Shadow missiles for Ukraine. French officials argue that the funds should be used to strengthen Europe's own defense industry. That's not all. Germany has no remaining capacity to provide Ukraine with additional Patriot systems. That stance has consequences. Ukraine relies on long-range precision weapons to hit Russian supply lines and command hubs. Also, without the Patriot missile defense systems, Ukraine is defenseless against Russian aerial assaults. As Europe debates budgets and borders, missiles keep flying, and Kyiv is left asking a brutal question. How long can it hold if the help slows down now? Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
Scientists have created the most detailed map ever made of dark matter using data from the James Webb Space Telescope. The findings offer new insight into the hidden forces shaping galaxies and help explain how dark matter made life in the universe possible. Take a look.
It holds galaxies together. It is everywhere, and yet it has never been seen. It shapes the universe, yet emits no light. At first glance, it looks like a field of faint blue glimmers floating in the dark. scattered like ghostly lights across the night sky. But this image is not a photograph of visible stars or galaxies. It's a map of something entirely invisible: dark matter. Dark matter doesn't emit, reflect or absorb light, but it does have mass, and that means it exerts gravity.
We created the most detailed ever made map of the dark matter for a small patch of the universe. So dark matter is this invisible architect of the universe. And even if it's invisible, we can observe it indirectly through the effect it has on the stars in the background, and in particular, its gravity.
Dark matter makes up nearly 85% of all matter in the universe. Without it, galaxies would tear themselves apart. Stars would drift. Cosmic structure would collapse. And for decades, scientists could only infer its presence through gravity, motion, and mathematical fingerprints. Now, that is changing. Using the James Webb Space Telescope, astronomers have produced the most detailed map yet of dark matter's distribution across the universe.
The James Webb Space Telescope is, it's huge, it's in space, but it's basically just a camera. It can take photos of the night sky like you can from your own mobile phone. But it's got this huge lens on it, so it can collect the light from the most distant objects at the far side of the universe. So we can see objects really far away from us, and the resolution on it is just astonishing.
Understanding dark matter is key to understanding the universe's past and its future. It could help explain why galaxies formed when they did, why they look the way they do, and why the universe continues to expand the way it does. Although this map focuses on a single section of the sky, it reveals a pattern that stretches across the universe, that links invisible matter to the galaxies and stars we can see, and even to the conditions that made life possible. For the first time, humanity is not just sensing the universe's invisible skeleton, it is mapping it. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
As Europe scrambles to rearm for future conflicts, the US is locked in a great power rivalry with China, with the battle for influence playing out at sea. Just days after China sent a naval vessel to Latin America on a so-called medical mission, the US has responded by sending a warship to a China-funded naval base in the South China Sea region. A signal from Washington. Both Washington and Beijing, it seems, are eager to test each other in what each considers as their area of influence. Cambodia's naval base, which is located near the disputed South China Sea and which was upgraded with Chinese funding just last year, has hosted a US warship for the first time. The USS Cincinnati is an Independence variant littoral combat ship. It is designed for shallow waters and coastal operations. They are basically built for speed, agility, and rapid response, and they are increasingly central to America's Indo-Pacific strategy. The crew of USS Cincinnati is about 100, and it is scheduled to engage in sporting events and other activities in a nearby city during its visit till the 28th of January. The completion of a new pier and dry dock has fueled concerns in Washington that China, which is Cambodia's close ally and main provider of aid and investment, may have been granted exclusive access to the base. Since 2019, controversy has also persisted over reports of a potential 30-year agreement for Chinese military use of the site on the Gulf of Thailand. Although China has funded Cambodia's base's expansion, the Cambodian government has denied any agreement for exclusive Chinese privileges. And the Prime Minister, who oversaw the base's reopening in April last year, has maintained that it is open to all friendly nations for joint exercises, provided the ships are not too large for the facility. Last Saturday itself, when the U.S. ship reached the port, the U.S. Navy said in a press release that USS Cincinnati's visit to Cambodia reaffirms shared commitment to regional security, peace and prosperity. The U.S. Navy said that its crew, while in port, will conduct ship tours and meet with key leaders. The U.S. Navy captain, the Commodore of the destroyer Squadron 7, said, and I'm quoting now, "We are always excited to work alongside our partners and continue to build a free and open Indo-Pacific for all nations." The U.S. Navy ship's visit also coinciding with a scheduled meeting between the head of the U.S. Indo-Pacific Command and the Cambodian Defense Minister. And here's why this port visit matters all the more. Last April, the naval base was inaugurated after being renovated by China. It was opened as a joint logistics and training facility operated by Chinese and Cambodian forces. It became China's second publicly acknowledged overseas military base. Beijing insists that the facility is not aimed at any third country. Meanwhile, Cambodia maintains that the base remains under full Cambodian control. But then analysts are not entirely convinced. China's growing military footprint in Cambodia, strengthening China's ability to project power across the South China Sea, a region already riddled with territorial disputes and frequent maritime confrontations. Meanwhile, the U.S. continuing to maintain its presence to assert freedom of navigation and counter China's expanding reach. The visit also marking the second U.S. littoral combat ship deployment to Cambodia since December 2024, when the USS Savannah docked there, a sign of strengthening ties. Cambodian officials say the port remains open to all foreign vessels, including those from the US, Japan and Australia. Japan, in fact, was the first to visit the upgraded base last year. Japanese vessels from the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force made the port call in April 2025. And then China followed soon after with joint military drills. According to the Pentagon, Chinese naval vessels were already being rotated through the base even before the facility officially opened. Pentagon claims that China is building a global network of military hubs to project power far beyond its borders. So what happens next is the immediate question. How will China respond, and will Cambodia's base become another frontline in this great power rivalry between the US and China? We will have to wait and watch for these answers. To stay up to speed with the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.